Hi everybody, Jessie here from jessiebanks.com and welcome back to another video. So grab yourself a coffee and a snack because this one's a long one. I am using Simon Says Stamp Beautiful Flowers here, and I am going to stamp it out on Arch's 140 pound watercolor paper. It's cold press, and then we are going to paint them up with my stone ground paints. These paints are made locally to me. They're made in Regina. It's a couple hours away from me, but I have quite the wide variety of their paints. I really enjoy them. I will have all of the colors linked in the description box below. And I'm going to start out by stamping the big bouquet on this long piece of watercolor paper using Tim Holtz's Tea-Dye Distress Ink Pad. I did only need one generation of stamping on this. I do know that sometimes I have to stamp 2 and 3 times. It all depends on the stamp and how hard I push, apparently, as to if I need to stamp it more than once. So once we get that all stamped down, I am going to tape it onto my Epicurean board, and then we will get into the painting. And this is where we need to settle in. So this is a new brush to me. It is a round number 6. It is a Kolinsky sable brush. I picked it up at Frame Masters in Regina, which is the same place as where the stone ground paints are made. So we're going to start things off by going in and wetting it. And then I have a mix here of the quinacridone red, the Hansa Yellow, and the Hooker's Green. I had to think because I don't have my swatch sheet pulled out, which I should have, but anyway. To create this yellowy, orangey, vintagey color that I am using to put first coat on all of these flowers with. So I'm starting off by giving you guys a couple slower ones here, and then I will speed it up a whole bunch so we can get through this a lot faster, because we're talking like 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of footage. I have narrowed down into 22 minutes, and I didn't delete much. So things are going to move pretty quickly. If you guys have any questions or anything about the card or anything of that nature, definitely leave them in the comment box below, and I will get back to you. If there's anything you see that happened really fast or anything you didn't quite understand, just so you know that before we move at the speed of Mighty Mouse here and fly through this thing as fast as I possibly can. So I started off, like I said, by mapping out all of the flowers with this color that I mixed up. And we're just dropping in the darkest shadows down at the base of those leaves and blending it up into the light. I did find that the tea-dye color, being as fresh as it was at this point, really did bleed into the white of the paper and tinted it that little bit brown, which worked in my favor for these leaves because I was after more of a vintagey color with this one, nothing bold and bright and super vivid. So it worked definitely to my benefit as opposed to my detriment. Yeah, I had a blast painting this one. It took forever. It turned out absolutely beautiful. I forgot to mention at the beginning, I did make this card for the Simon Says Stamp Wednesday challenge, which I do believe they called No Patterned Paper or something like that. So most of my cards don't have pattern paper on them, so that's actually a fairly easy challenge for me. For those of you that use tons of pattern paper, I hope you guys enjoy making one with none. It's one of my favorite things to do, is to take a piece of white paper and turn it into a beautiful card when I'm finished. So we're picking up the pace and going to start flying through these. I wish I could move this fast in real life. It would be so much easier. But it's just the same process over and over again, and I'm slowly working my way around this image to get all of those leaves painted. There is one that I missed up at the top left-hand side of the paper. It's just like the tip of it that sticks out above that one floral. I do fill that in a little later on when I catch it. You will see my head a lot in this video. I'm not sure why or what I set up different, but my head gets in the way, so enjoy the top view of my hair. It's dark and beautiful, I guess. It's not terrible. How's that? It's clean. I showered, you can tell. So you should, be happy that it's not like after work greasy hair, because that happens too. So when I get up into these narrower flowers here, this set at the top, and then there's another set there off to the right, I did brighten up the green a little bit. The first coat I went in with the same color, but I do end up brightening it up just so that it looks a little bit different than the other green, simply because the leaves are different shapes, so obviously they'd be a different color. So that's why I went that route. And again, I'm kind of rushing through this as fast as I can. I paint super slow in real life. I get asked this a lot because I do tend to forget to mention it in my videos. I let layers dry in between naturally. So when that paper feels cool, the paper is still wet. And as long as that paper is wet, those watercolors are moving inside of those cotton fibers. So I wait until it is back to when I touch it, it doesn't feel cool or anything. Then you know the paper is dry and you can carry on with your next layer. It makes the glazing process really, really easy, which is how I do all of my watercolor paintings. I can't dab a bunch of color into wet paint and be happy with the way it looks. Lots of people do it. It looks beautiful. I absolutely adore those of you that can. I can't. It drives me insane. It never ends up looking as pretty as all of your guys's, so I work in layers and I make sure everything is dry in between. That's probably why it takes me so long. So like I said, this one had about 2 hours and 45 minutes of painting time. It probably took me close to 5 to complete it with allowing things to dry completely in between layers. So we're going to do that little bit of greenery on that one bud up at the top right hand side, and then we will fly through more layers on these. I do believe is what I do next, if I can remember correctly. So once we've got all of our base colors in, I mixed up a slightly greener version, and this is where I'm going to make these leaves a little bit brighter and more vivid than the vintagey ones that were the bigger leaves down at the bottom there. So blasting that color on there, following the same process, I'm just not wetting the paper first. When I add my layers and I do my glazing, I put the color down and then I wash it up to where I want it, which allows me to leave some of the paper dry so the color doesn't flow there, and kind of allows me to add a little bit more of a marbly look. I get a lot more harder edges on little areas and things of that nature because I don't let that color kind of do its own thing. The beautiful thing about watercolor is wherever that paper is wet, that pigment will move to. So areas that you don't want a color to be, you want to leave them dry because the paint won't move there if you haven't put water there. So when I work in my glazes, like I said, I like to pull the color to where I want it as to wetting the area and letting the paint have a free-for-all per se. So slowly adding those in, making sure I define the different leaves that are on top and behind each other with shadows of color where deep edges are, and just keeping on working. So now I am taking my green, what is that color called? Something green-ish. Hang on. Okay, so this is Antica Green Earth that I am adding in. It is a very brown-based green. I love it for these vintagey colors, and I tend to lean towards vintagey colors for florals. I really should try and do something with super bright, vivid, like rainbow-esque colors. You can see where the light changes here. I turned on my aught light because it was getting super cloudy outside. I should have done that through the whole video, but I didn't. I apologize. So there is a few changes of light in here. I have ordered myself 2 big soft boxes for filming, which should make my lighting more consistent, which would be fantastic for you guys to see what I'm doing so that, we don't have clouds and rain and night and day. And because lots of the time I do a little bit of filming at like 4 o'clock in the morning when it's not sunny outside. And then I do a whole bunch of filming like after 8 when my son goes to bed. And again, not really sunny outside, even if it is still daylight. My house faces south and the sun sets in the west. So by the time I get to the point of filming, it's like going down way on the other side of my house. So I don't get a lot of natural light in that way. So the best time I get real light is like middle of the day on a Saturday. So I am going through here. Oh, I touched the mic. I hope that wasn't too terrible. And adding some of my malachite. I'm not sure how to say that word. It's like that minty green color you see. I'm glazing it on top, and then I'm going to put another color over top of it. So it looks really, really minty for a while, and then I deepen it up again. I really like, when you're building layers, you always see fragments of other colors underneath. So like when I layer different greens on top of each other, you are seeing the luminosity of those other colors coming through. So that minty green that I put underneath will dissipate, but still shine through when I put another color over top of it. So now we're starting to work on our flowers. I've slowed the video back down. I did pull out the Pipestone, which is a gorgeous color. I love it's like a peachy, pinky, real vintagey. I think it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go through and put a wash of this over top of every single petal in this entire bouquet. So all 3 open blooms as well as the little bud and the 3 little closed buds over on the other side. So I'm starting at the darkest point of the flower, which will be wherever the light won't hit it. So on all of the open florals, it'll be where it pinches underneath and where it's coming to join the stem at the bottom. And the tops of the petals are going to be the lighter color, which I'm washing out to almost a white. So I'm going to show you guys quite a bit of this in slower motion, and then we'll pick up the pace. So I'm just pulling it out of the half pan and onto my palette because I find it easier to work with when it's on the palette as opposed to in the half pan. I'm not picking it up too concentrated or not concentrated enough, and I'm not fighting with keeping consistency in color as much when I have it on the palette as opposed to just in the half pan. Let's talk about stone ground paint for a couple minutes here. I do have a video coming with my entire palette. I have a gigantic collection of these paints. I mean, probably not as many as I have of my Daniel Smith, but considering they are handmade paints and the amount of colors that this company makes when they are all literally stone ground in the back of Frame Masters Gallery in Regina, I have lots of colors. How many colors do I have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 30. I have 36 of their colors. One of them is shimmery, which is a silver, but the rest are all just standard watercolors. I do believe all, but maybe one of their paints are single pigment colors, which means they mix wonderfully with other colors. But like I said, look for that video coming soon of a lot more in-depth about these paints. I do have like a little review that I did a long time ago, but I'm going to go through and show you guys some of my favorite mixing components, what colors I reach for most, why I purchased the ones I purchased, which ones I think are the most unique, etc., etc. I love these paints. This collection is going to continue growing until I have all of them. I don't necessarily need all the pearlescent ones, but I want all of the standard watercolors. I don't paint with pearly paint a whole lot, probably because it doesn't show up the best in videos or in photography. And most of what I do is cards for videos and photography. I hate when I say that. Anyway, I do some like larger paintings and where it's not stamped images and it's my own artwork and things of that nature. You guys don't get to see any of that. That's like, I hide that away in my basement. But anyway, I think I'm starting to lose my mind and I'm talking really fast. Slow down. So anyway, I'm going to get that video out for you guys probably in the next week or so. That one's a big endeavor. I've started filming it. It's probably going to be another, 20, 30 minute video, but we're going to do the best I can as fast as I can in getting you guys one of those and showing you some of my favorite mixes and things. It sure would be great if Jessie would get her head out of the way. I digress. So we're getting all of these colors put on here, or all of this pipestone put on here to make these guys all nice and pink and beautiful. I hope you guys enjoy watching me paint florals, and I don't plan what I say to you guys. I know lots of people have script ideas and things they need to hit and bullet points and all this kind of stuff. And let's be honest, I work 45 hours a week outside of the house. Besides this, I do have time. If I was to take the time to write down scripts and make sure I hit every point I want to hit and make sure I hit on every point that's relevant to every card that I make, I would get you guys one video a month, because my son is super active in sports and extracurricular activities and weekends, and I like to do lots of things with him outside of those as well. So my time for filming and editing and voicing over and all of this fun stuff that I love to do for YouTube, if I didn't enjoy doing it, I wouldn't do it. It's as much as it's for you guys to watch and you guys to enjoy, and I hope that you're learning things from my cards. It's also for me. It's kind of like my mellow out time. If I'm going to sit and paint and color for hours anyway, I might as well let you guys watch it and hope you learn something from it. But I really enjoy making them, so that's why I do them. Let's get through all this pipestone. Maybe I should have sped this up a little faster, you guys. So I'm doing the same thing everywhere. Like on that little bud, I'm making sure the dark goes wherever a petal falls in behind another petal, so that it shows it's kind of casting a shadow. And as we get through and add in the other colors like the Perylene Maroon or the Armenian Ocher Purple, I can't remember which one I use where offhand, you'll get to see that definition come a whole lot more to the foreground of the card. I'm still painting pink. Oh my goodness. Okay, I need to speed this up a little bit. Hold that thought.